Okay, first I want to say that um, these are basically just to give people ideas and thoughts and let them come to their own conclusions. I make no claims. I'm just doing these videos. People can, ask me all, these dimensions and everything, water temperature, all that. Uh, That's fine, but there's a lot more to this than just refraction. And I'm even still learning by rewatching these videos and just looking for specific details like angle of light, how the light is coming into this gutter, the light reflecting off the pole behind it. How does it affect, um, the object that I'm looking at here, which is this made up boat. I call it my boat. It's just a cap to a battery. Um, so terminal, battery terminal. Other than that, I'm going to chime in here and there, but I want to say that I'm going to fill this thing up with some warm water, but people accuse me of tilting my camera down and whatnot. So this is going to be long. I will warn you for that. But I think there's really a whole lot to learn from these, especially when you watch them a couple of times and then you start looking for certain details. And it's very thought provoking. So sit back. I don't know how many of you will last through it, but hopefully you will. So I am adding it at a slow pace. And I put the hose or the water approximately in the middle of the gutter. 32 foot. I am back a ways off the end of the gutter a little bit farther than I was yesterday. Um, so the gutter's 32 and a half, and I'm approximately 2.5 feet. So we'll try this and we'll see what happens. Hopefully my boat don't float off the other end. I'm also a little higher up from the first video I made. My fake boat, I should say. And I gotta wait till I start feeling the warm water coming out both ends. Yeah, it's cold. And it's not really cold, it's lukewarm. I am going to chime in here every once in a while, but I really do want to leave a lot of what I say on the video. Um, but also want you to look at how the focus changes, how the light is reflecting off of the water, and how it completely hides this thing even once I turn the water off and it levels out. Now I will go through and also um, change the water temperature back to cold, and the whole time my camera really does not move. I do have to turn it back on, but I made sure that I was able to steady my camera before shutting it off or turning it back on again. So I only had to touch it once or twice here. Um, but obviously I'm not tilting the camera because you'll see when I put the cold water in what happens. But like I say, it's gonna this is a long video, and I took a lot of time to set this all up and do it. Um, and now I want to show it. So, it really depends on you as the viewer whether or not you want to spend the time to watch this, but you can learn a lot from it. And I really want you to pick out things and decide for yourself on what's going on. Am I cheating? Am I trying to, lie to you? You know, I have no intentions to lie to anybody, and that's the whole thing. You know, I want people to decide for themselves.
Actually, I just think everything gets pinched off because of this atmospheric condition, or you might even want to call it looming. You might want to call it lensing. You might even want to call it magnification. But when you magnify something, it uh, expands in all directions. But there's something else happening here too. Um, and it may be partly because of the light reflecting off that pole at the other end.
Yes, I've been saying for years that the angle of light does affect things, and the amount of light. As you can see, this object here is almost invisible. It's been stretched upward too. Um, you know, there's a lot of things going on here, and that's why I say, you know, just paying attention to everything that I do. And like I said, I'm not going to try to edit this or anything, draw lines on it or anything. That was me sticking my finger in there to test the water temperature. Um, yeah, a lot going on.
I increased the flow rate of my water going into there. And here at 7 minutes, I'm going to go shut it off. Yeah, I'm going to go turn it off and let it level out. All right, I got my cell phone out. So I don't touch my camera at all.
Yeah, I was accused of tilting my camera down, so maybe this will help them understand that no, I'm not cheating. I'm not tilting the camera down. Um, I'm really what I want people to do is test these things themselves. Don't just rely on me either. Um, but uh, again, there's really a lot to learn from these observations, but a lot of people don't want to take the time.
The pole gets wider the farther away it goes. And it's the opposite when you're looking up a pole. Farther away it goes, it gets skinnier. It's starting out skinny and getting bigger as it goes away. Just like you would expect to see. But when this hits, zero, I'm going to turn it on again. And that's the only thing I'm going to do is just turn it on. I'm going to try not to move the camera at all. I'll put my finger on the edge of it and hit the restart button. But then I might change my water. But what I want to do is let it, I'm going to go a little longer time this time and just let it, do like 13 minutes or however long these videos are for. Alright, I don't have water draining out the end of the gutter no more. So it's pretty much leveled itself out. Uh, I got a little bit draining out the other end. Not much. But we'll let her drain. Like I said, I'm going to turn the camera on again, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I did start out too with manual focus. I focused on the little red boat. Well, it is red in the bright light. Um, it doesn't look red right now, and it didn't look red earlier. But I mean, you can see how this light is um, being reflected up. But like I say, there's other um, effects taking effect that needs to be looked at.
Sit here. I can sit down. He says, thinks that I may have touched my camera, but I did not touch my camera.
Yeah, Michael J. and a couple other people, and I'm not going to insult you, um, but you guys did make some accusations, and I wanted to make this video. Well, I didn't make this one. I've had it in my files um, since well, I think it's like 2 years, 2019, toward the end, or maybe even the beginning of the year. I'm not sure, but if you take the time to watch these, and what are you going to tell me? That distortion is caused by refraction, um, or I'm cheating somehow. I want to take your excuses away. And I really hope you do come back and comment.
I didn't let that water get really hot inside there. It was kind of mixing with the cold water or the lukewarm water. All right, I'm down to a minute and 20 seconds. Show you. Let me see. I'm going to start it up in a minute. Okay. When it hits the 0 mark, I'll start it back up again. 'Cause I should have used my P1000. I have a remote for it that I could have just used the remote to start it again, but I think I can turn it on again without moving the camera much. Five, four, three, two, one. Turn it back on again. Okay. And maybe I'll change my water here. I know I know people hate watching long observations too. That's what kind of shoots you down in the long run, because people are like, it is boring. Yeah, it's boring, all right. That's pretty cool. Gotta admit that.
Well, I wanted to check that date, and that date was January 8th or January 15th, 2020. So it was 2 years ago. Um, Again, I'm even saying to myself, it is kind of boring doing these observations, and it is a lot of work to set up this gutter and everything. But I won't be able to do it again with this long of a gutter. I have to have it shorter because I had to cut it in half. It got some wind damage where it twisted a little bit, and I had to cut it in half.
And there's no more water draining out. So obviously, the warmer water did create an issue. Um, how about we do the cold water? Let's do cold water.
This is really the interesting part. When I start adding the cold water back in, you'll start seeing it come back to where it was originally. Now it doesn't come back fully to original, but you can pretty much see what's going on, and it's not just refraction. Again, it's a combination of all the effects put together. Um, Light, angle of light, water temperature, air temperature. And somebody's going to ask me, well, what are these? Well, do this observation yourself. Go out and spend the money on a 32-foot piece of gutter, 6 inch, and see what that costs you. Okay. So again, I do these. I did this more for myself, and I've learned a lot from it, especially this second time that I've watched it, um, maybe the third time, but I'm actually learning more and more as I go along. Here's me adding in the cold water, and watch what happens. It goes back to almost where it was, but you just got to be patient and wait and watch.
All right, I'm applying the cold water. You see my hose down there. See the water draining out the end. And again, I put my hose in the middle, pretty close to the middle. A little more my end than it is in the very center, but it's okay. But, I already see it. Well, but we got to realize too that the water's getting higher in the center and working both directions. So I am creating a hump. But once we turn this water off and the water gets to that colder temperature, we'll see what happens when we let it all drain.
And you heard what I said about creating a hump, but by creating a hump, look what happened to the object. Um, Quite a big difference in everything, but wait till everything settles back down too. That's the most important part of the video. And again, I'm just wanting to spark ideas in other people's heads how they can perform similar experiments like this, or tests, or whatever you want to call these observations. Um, I look at it a little bit of all of it. And you do have to have some patience, and um, even put your bias aside, whether it's flat, curved, or whatever. But always remember, I am doing this over a flat surface. Um, Now, I'm sure that I'm going to get a bunch of excuses, but obviously, how many excuses can you make before you say, "Yeah, you made a point. You made a very big point," because this is a big point.
The globe people aren't gonna like this, but oh well. I can't make anybody like what I do. Can't make them watch my observations. Can't make them do anything.
And by now, I've probably lost a lot of viewers. They say, ah, this ain't worth watching. Um, and they'll turn the other cheek, or the Globe people might just, say they watched it and then they don't because then they really won't see what's going on. Again, these are supposed to be thought provoking videos or critical thinking videos, make you use that, mind that God give you, um, and question everything. I mean, again, question me, do this yourself. Um, it does take a little bit of expense. It does take a lot more time and again patience because um, we're humans, right? So there's times where I just want to give up. I want to just stop making these videos. Stop going out and doing my observations. Uh, for some reason, though, I became addicted to it, but I do have to draw a stopping point one day, um, and just let other people take off from where this is going. Let them take over and start showing their truths. Eventually, it's got to happen, right? I mean, we all can't continue to do this forever. Um, maybe till people do say, "Hey, I can trust myself. I can trust my eyes because I see the illusion that occurs," and that's what it is. It's an illusion because um, everything that we see is uh, a light wave, a frequency, um, and when you look at um, you know our 3D world, it's length times height times depth, right? Um, so we get a 3D dimension. Um, but when you look at depth, can you really get depth? I mean, it seems like depth is where the deception lies, whether it's further away, up closer, bigger, smaller. A lot of things go into your depth perceptions. But when we look at something in a picture, really there's no depth. You can't touch the depth. You can touch the length, the height, but you can't touch the depth. You may think you are, but you're not. And that's just something that I wanted to bring up in this too. Um, there's a lot of things to say about um, what we've been told and how we've been taught through the television. We are pretty much told what to believe, and that's where we got to stop believing in what other people tell us, and and believe in ourselves, believe in our hearts. Follow your heart. Your heart is a legion good places, really.
I do think my camera is a little higher than it was the other day. That's okay. I know didn't want to have somebody say that I'm underneath the gutter. And we're back to almost normal again, folks.
All right. Not only did I do this video from a little higher up off the water, I also did it from a further back zoom. So you could pretty much see that it wasn't no tilting of a camera that caused these effects. Um, there's the light reflecting off the water that almost causes this ghost-like effect. Um, there's light reflecting off the object, even though you might not see it. There's light reflecting off of it. There's light reflecting off the pole behind it, which may be just reflecting light behind it. Um, you see the light reflecting off the right side of the gutter, and that could be reflecting light back in on another angle. But angle of light is playing a role in this. Again, I commend anybody that stuck with this and watched it all the way through. Those that have any questions, I'd be more than happy. But don't ask for water temperature and air temperature. All I know is I'm pulling it out of I have an outside shower. I hooked the hose to it and, drug it all the way across my yard. Uh, uh, and, filled this thing up. And then I had another hose bib with regular just cold water coming up out of the well. Now, normally that's like 72 degrees, but if it's out in my piping, it may be colder due to the fact that, January is kind of a cold month in Florida. Um, it's not cold every day, but we do get some cold snaps, and I don't remember the temperature that day. I don't believe that I was um, wearing shorts or sweatshirts or anything. I think I was wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. So in the sun, it was probably warm. Um, Again, all these are to help you or give you some ideas as a viewer on how you could do this test better. If you want to use, the temperatures and all, go ahead, because that does help the whole observation. But um, I just did these to kind of give other people ideas, see if they could take them a step further. My whole observations is not to change anybody's opinion on anything, but to just show them that maybe their opinion needs to be rethought. All right. Again, thanks a lot for watching, especially those that watched this all the way through. If you didn't watch it all the way through, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot out of it. All right. Thanks again. Bye bye.